Good morning. Yesterday I received my napkin swap. It was a 10 napkin swap from Elena Da Silva from Cayuga, Ontario. And these are the napkins that she sent me. So there's a good assortment of light and dark, floral and different patterns. So we've got some tulips, some more botanical looking tulips, some pretty floral with birds and scrolls and script. I really love those kinds of patterns. And then some tulips and hyacinths and butterflies. And then butterflies with, I think that's an allium flower. Some cranes with some cherry blossoms. Some triangles. These are a nice muted pink and purple. A Christmas one with some poinsettias and berries. A couple of foxes dancing in the wintry woods. Purple leaf, very nice textural quality to it. And then a black background with gold, silver, and copper. Really interesting. So today I thought I would use some of these floral ones with the plainish backgrounds and put them onto the music paper with the glue stick. So I'm picking up some that do not have words, just music. I've got a couple here to start with. I can grab more if I need it. And first thing I need to do is get my napkin off of the backing. So this one, the backing is cooperating nicely, the first layer anyway. And I'll save these to use as either just clean up glue with when I'm working or to stamp on and use in journals. And then sometimes there's another layer that is not quite as easy to get off because they kind of emboss it so that it sticks together. I don't think they glue it, but the little embossing that they do around the edges kind of holds it together. So one of the tricks is to get some tape and just stick it and pull. And if there is another layer, it will come off. That will get it started. It won't be perfect like that first sheet that came off without any rips in it, but at least you'll have your paper freed. And again, like I say, I just sometimes use these to clean up glue spills and stuff. This one is left with a tiny little bit of the color imprinted on it, which could show up on something really pale. And I'll set that aside. And then when you put this over top, I think I'm going to do, I didn't really plan this out. I think I'm going to do 3 tulips across the bottom. And then I might fold this over and make a flap and make an envelope or something. Maybe I'll go through the middle. And then I could fold up in the back. I don't know. Don't like to plan things too much, but I think what I'll do is do the 3. I like 3s for some reason. Got myself a little bit of water just in the cap of my water bottle, and I've got a paintbrush. So that's another trick, is to don't cut them. Just wet them with some water on a paintbrush. And then they'll tear, and it won't be that crisp line. It'll be a nice jagged line. So then figure out where you want it. And I'm going to leave so I'm going to go over the edge here. Maybe I'll go sideways just so it fits a little better. I'm going to be covering up the title, which is okay. But then I can leave my square edges and have these other edges sort of feathering out. I'm just going to grab some plainish paper to protect my work surface. And I'm just going to barely mark where I need to glue, just so I don't put way too much. And you do want to give it a nice even, not too thick. You don't want it gloppy, but you want it to be enough to catch the paper and make it stick. And of course, you want to make sure you go all the way to the edge. And then just set that down, lining up the edges first. And you kind of have to be a little gentle with it. And get those feathered bits stuck down. And so that lets the music shine or show through from behind. It doesn't make it glossy, which is one thing I really like about it, because sometimes it can just be too glossy when you use Mod Podge or glue. And then I can use this to make some tags, or I can back it with coffee dyed paper to cover up this one and use it as journaling cards. I could use it to make envelopes, all sorts of things. But today I thought I would just play with putting the images onto the papers. So Fifth Nocturne or The Last Rose of Summer. They're both very interesting looking music. I've got this Soul Lone Butterfly, or Tulip. Rip him off. And I can maybe, I could fit all 4 of them across there. And then it could end up being 4 tags. I think that's what I'll do with this one, just to a bit of a mass make approach. And then what I'll do is I'll also come back with some coffee dyed paper and cover up the backs of them if I'm going to make them into tags. So I need to go to about here. I do have plans to do some fusing with the inner cereal box liner and an iron. So I may try that next, but I wanted to do this quick and easy one first that I know works. I know the other one will work too, I just haven't done it. So if I do it, I will take you along for the journey. And then if you need to press harder than just a light rubbing, you can put a piece of plastic, like a sheet protector or something over top, and then you could press harder. But this really picks up, like the glue catches it, and you can just very gently. Doesn't feel like I have any bubbles. Whereas the wet glue, it's sometimes hard. You can't lift it back up. I haven't tried to lift this back up because I just got lucky and it felt set down nicely for me. But that's really pretty. And I can further embellish them, cut them into tags, or make a journaling card out of 2 of them, just depending on what size I need. And I'll probably back the back of it. So these won't take long to dry, but you could put them under books to dry them. Now let's see, I've got one more tulip here. Maybe what I'll do with this one lone tulip, no, it won't quite fit in either place. So maybe I'll find a spot for it later on. So I'll go ahead and take this one apart, and then I'll find some paper to put it on. I have some book page I could do too. I just like the idea of the flowers and the music together. Maybe I'll put that one on some book page. I'm going to do the tape trick. If you don't, then this piece will stick, but this one won't, and it'll eventually peel off if it gets caught or anything. So you really need to get rid of both layers if it's a 3-layer. Some of the less expensive ones are only 2 layers. Some of the things that make them less expensive is how many layers they have and how much of the napkin is covered with pattern as well, because some of the ones you get at the dollar store, the pattern's just on one corner and the rest is plain. So these more expensive ones give you more opportunities for projects. Now, I don't know if this will show the music as well because of all the background detail, but we'll try one. This one doesn't have any wording on it. We'll try this one. And let's see what I want to do here. I think I will go around here. And just dip it in the water. Dip it and rip it. You just have to be a little gentle, but it'll rip where it's wet before it'll rip where it's dry. It doesn't take long for that to dry then afterwards. And since I've already ripped into this one, let's go ahead and section off some more. And then it'll be easier to store it. And there's another nice section. Kind of random, and you can take these edges and rip them off too, but I'll leave them for now because it might end up in the bottom corner of a page, you see. So then we put our paper. And maybe what I'll do here is this, and use this guy up here. Leave that 85 showing. You can see that. And that'll give me sort of multiple uses of this page. So again, I'm going to kind of roughly mark where I need to glue. I think I've glued way more than I need to, but that's okay. I'm going to leave a little border on this one at the edge here. And just smooth it down. And it didn't quite catch these edges, so I'm just going to put a little strip and finish that off. I like the way that looks. You can't really see much of the music in behind, but I'll leave, that's why I left more showing around it. And my paper's getting gluey quickly. So I'll use this for up here. I was going to do this, wasn't I? Close to the edge, I can leave a little bit of a border. I like the way these look. And I like the way they feel. They have a bit of texture more than normal paper does. There, so that'll be a tag. And then this one will be a bigger journal card, or, you know, it could even go into further into a collage or something. And so, let's just see if I can do one on a book page. Here's a book page that I got in the mail. It's French. So let's do a section. A shorter one. That one maybe. And that will do. So I'm coloring most of this page. It's kind of upside down. Never even paid attention to that. That really bothers people, I think. See how successful we are at taking it off while it's still wet. Because I would rather it not be upside down. That's satisfying. Okay, so then I can go this way. I'll have to get this edge glued. There's a tear there too in the napkin. This one might not turn out well, but it's good to know that you do have a little bit of time with this glue. This is just the Dollarama has this glue. It's $2.50 in Canada anyway. It's $2.50 per tube, per stick, I guess. But it's not that much cheaper on Amazon or even on Temu. I did find some a little cheaper on Temu, but not that brand. They weren't bad. I haven't had anything fail yet from them. So this one's a little more lumpy. It's not as flat. A couple wrinkles in there because it wasn't as perfect this time when it went down, but it still looks pretty. And then you've got that little bit of French writing sticking up, and I can trim this off. Too bad the bird got trimmed, but if I leave him on there, when I go to put him down on a page, he can be going from one piece of paper to the next. So I'll leave him. Won't cut him off yet. And then I think I'll go back to my music paper, because that was my original thought. And this is almost like a newsprint, a little thicker than newspaper, but it's very old. Let's see here. It's from Toronto. Piano music book. $1936. So it's an oldie, but I mean, no one's going to use it for music. Not that it's now that it's in my possession. I got it in a tote full of music from a woman whose mother was a piano teacher, and she just knew she wasn't going to use it, so she sold it on Facebook Marketplace. So I got a whole big tote full of music. And I told her right out, I said, I'm not going to be using it for music, I'm using it for crafts. And she says, as long as it gets used. So it's nice to know that people have that attitude. So this one, I would like to figure out some sort of a pocket or something, but I guess you can always just make a pocket. I could put it where I would be folding down a flap. So if I was making a music envelope and folding my flap down like this, what I could do is decorate it so that when the flap's closed, you see the design. So I would need to trim it right through the bird in this case, or I could move it up. Yeah, either way it's going to be right through the bird, so we'll just have to go with that. I could maybe make the bird down below. Yeah, I could make the bird down below. So then I want to bring my water right through here. If you can see me very well. Just above the bird's head anyway. And then I'll try to line them up. Totally off the cuff, people, so don't get too upset if it doesn't work perfectly. So again, I got to pay attention to where this is. Keep my glue below that line. And I'll glue my bird down. A little bit of glue above that line. I don't want this to stick down on me. And then pretty much goes all the way across. I'll move this out so I can see what I'm lining up to. So it's about like that. And then when that lifts up, I'm going to leave those little frayed edges. They're going to be fragile, but I think whoever's going to use this is going to be respectful and not tear them off. And if they do tear off, it doesn't really ruin anything. It'll line up fine, but it sure fills in those gaps, right? Let me get this completely stuck down. And I'm going to wrap this around. You gotta be careful of your undersheets. When they get sticky, they start to cause problems. This will be the back of the envelope. Sorry, I'm out of screen likely again. And you can also use something like the silicone glue spreader to gently maneuver those edges if you're trying to keep your fingers from getting sticky. So once that's all dry, then I will glue those, glue this flap shut on both sides. I might even trim it up a bit. Got some rough edges where I tore it out of the book, which is okay, but sometimes I just like it a little neater. But that's an interesting way to do the pocket. So that's got a lot of sticky spots on it. I'm gonna put that off by itself so it doesn't stick down to the next one. And then we'll do another one. I think I'll do one with the butterflies. Moon winks. I don't know what a moon wink is, but let's use that paper. So this is basically 2 designs the same and 2 designs the same. So again, that first sheet's going to come off fairly easily and complete. The second one, I will do the tape trick. I usually just do it close to a corner, that way you get as much possible in one piece. I've even taken these little extra pieces and used them at the dinner table too. Just wipe your mouth or wipe up if you spill something. But they're handy for crafting for the glue spills. So that one really kept some of the color. I think you can probably see that it's kept some of this color on it. I don't know if they're printed after they're put together. I don't know how they're made. So here, we could maybe do the same sort of thing. Do a simple envelope. And then cut out our design. Get one butterfly below and one above, and if I center this up, I can do something, trim those edges off. So I think I'll use the water right across above this butterfly so that he's on the bottom and she's on the top, or whatever they are. I don't know what sex, how you tell the sex of a butterfly. It's dry now. Oh shoot, I did it above the line. Doesn't matter if he's cut off. He might not agree. That is pretty sticky still, so I'm just going to wait a second. I'll do the back side here. So you definitely don't want to try to apply the glue stick to the napkin. You want to apply it to the paper, if that isn't obvious. If you had a piece of plastic, you could put it in there because then it wouldn't stick. Just like plastic packaging or something. And you could still see where this is needing to be placed, like so. A bit of a glob there. To get it too globby. And then I can line this up. So there's a stem over here, this stem that I can line up, and then the edge of the flower. And then I can flip it over. Rather than cutting that off, I'll flip it over and stick it down. It may end up being fastened down in a journal, but it also could just be pinned in, clipped in. So leave that. Leave it pretty. And then this, when it folds up, will meet. let's go ahead. This one's, it's still a little wet, but I'll take just a little bit of this tacky glue down those edges. You can feel it sticking there. That is just about done. Needs to have the cap cleaned out and be refilled. And I didn't put a notch in this because I did leave it down about an inch from the top fold, so you can get things in and out fairly easily. So that'll be an envelope or a pocket. I just love that look where it meets up like that. Glued down right to the edge. I don't mind if there's a little sticking over, but the stuff that's up on the paper should be stuck down. Yeah. So I'm really happy with that. And then I might do like a button closure or something, but it's so pretty. And I might round these corners. Because see, this one was already folded over. It's hard when the paper isn't very thick. Sometimes what you can do is stick another piece of paper with it. It's just barely doing the job. I better do the large one. There. It feels better when it has more paper with it. This paper is so fragile. With the slightly damp weather we've been having, I'm finding that these punches don't work as well. Yeah, so I really like the way that turned out. So there's this piece, this envelope. This envelope, which I didn't glue. I'll glue this one down. I'm going to leave the ratty edge. I think that's kind of part of the fun of the junk journaling, is that you can just leave it like that and it has its own charm. And it really does. It's not just me being lazy. It really does have its own charm if you appreciate that kind of thing. Again, I'll try to these corners. That didn't work. It just has trouble grabbing it when it's so wishy-washy. It's not a firm paper. There. Of course, you can ink the edges. These don't really need it because they're already pre-inked by time. So those are my favorites, I would say. And then we have these others which will be turned into something else. So they've already stiffened up quite a bit just from sitting for that half hour or so. The book page, and the tulips. Yeah, so let me know what you would make with this technique. And like, comment, share, subscribe if you're interested in other little impromptu crafting sessions like this. I'd love to have you as the part of the Thistledew Creations family. And I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day, and thanks for watching.